Coming up on this episode of MSCB News, we investigate the effects voters have at the polls.
We interview a French teacher that sponsors the French and anime clubs at Mesquite High School.
An interview with students on how they manage working and going to school.
And then look at the local hidden graffiti gallery called the Fabrication Yard.
All this and more coming up on MSCB News.
Welcome to MSEB, live from the TEC studios.
Good afternoon, Mesquite ISD. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Kimberly Payan.
And I'm Lilith Swint, and you're watching MSCB Live, a show produced by MISD students and brought to you live from the TEC studios.
We'll bring you the top stories from throughout the district and take an inside look on what's happening in MISD. Let's get our first story. Our field reporter, Scarlett Ordonez, is reporting on a local graffiti gallery called the Fabrication Yard. Let's check it out.
I'm here at the Fabrication Yard, where many local artists come here to show off their art. I'm here today asking locals and artists how they feel about it. Let's see what they have to say. I'm with John Trolley. How do you feel about the Fabrication Yard?
I think this is a great place for people to express themselves, and we actually live in the neighborhood, so we come down here for inspiration. We use it for, just it's personally enjoyable to kind of see how the colors and the graphics are mixed together, and we use it for some of our projects too, as kind of give us a little direction.
How did you find out about the Fabrication Yard?
We live here, and we're just driving by, and one day we just turned in, and I didn't know all of this was back here, but it was quite a nice surprise.
So you just found it out of luck?
Yep.
I'm with Claudia, asking her some questions about how she found out about the Fabrication Yard.
I found out about this location through another graffiti artist who's been painting here since it opened. He actually showed me the location. I came here to take pictures because originally I wanted to take more pictures of murals around here in Dallas. So this was one of the perfect places to take pictures. One thing that I realized when I take pictures, it's always changing. Sometimes daily, weekly, it's always changing. There's always something brand new to see here. Not just only graffiti, but there's actual art here.
How do you feel about the Fabrication Yard?
I love it. I love coming here. I myself began painting here for a little bit, and I got to meet a lot of artists, not just muralist artists, painters, graffiti artists, photographers, and I got to learn a little bit about them and what they do and the reasons why they love coming here and why they love to practice art.
So you would say that you started learning graffiti here at the Fabrication Yard. It's like a great place to start beginning learn?
Yeah, to start practicing, yes, this is a great place. Not many people have a place to practice, either at home or at work, or they don't have an area, and this is a large enough area to practice. So you have unlimited space, and you could come here day and night, really.
Do you think the Fabrication Yard should be a protected landmark, a local landmark here for Dallas?
It should be. One thing that people fail to realize that we do need art in our life, and graffiti is art.
What is the culture and also the community you made here in the Fabrication Yard?
The impact, I think, was the four elements of hip hop. Graffiti, breakdancing, MCing, and DJing, because that's what's actually flourished from this area. A lot of it.
Yeah. Like you're just trying to make a positive impact in the community here, and also graffiti-wise.
Well, yeah. Overall, the arts, honestly, whether you're breaking or I should say breakdancing, or because that's what it's known for today. Yeah. So, breakdancing, or you're doing visual arts, I think this is a place to do that. And if it's going to do it in a positive manner, I think it should keep going, and it should never stop.
We heard from artists, locals, and the co-founder of the Fabrication Yard. We heard about their opinions, feelings, and their stories here of this wonderful place that has a short lifespan. Hopefully one day you can visit this local gym.
Thanks for the story, Scarlett. It looks like the Fabrication Yard is a nice place for local artists to display their talent. In our next story, we interview a student about how she manages working while also enrolled in high school. Kempayan has the story.
Hi, this is Kimberly Payan, and I'm here at American Eagle with Melanie Gonzalez to ask her how she manages work and school.
Manage school and work. Well, I like to get my work done in class first so that by the time I'm at work, I don't worry about it. And on the days I have off, I have no work to do because I already did it in class. So I just spend my time either, relaxing or enjoying the time that I have off from my job. Well, I'd say yes, because to some extent I slack off because I have a job, but it's just a time management thing where you have to get used to managing work and school and then knowing when you have to put your school over your job, because this job isn't going to last forever. I'd rather focus on education. I'd say yes, because they're usually saying how we have to talk to customers, and just coming up to someone and randomly trying to speak to them, I'd say is a good thing, because once you start going to college, or when you have a job and talk to random people you don't know, you know how to do small talk, you know how to keep it to a professional relationship. It depends on the person, because it just depends on how they manage responsibility, and if they value work over school, it probably wouldn't be a good thing, because minimum wage doesn't pay bills for very long. So I'd say if you get a job, it's just to either save up for college, buy minuscule things that you'd want that your parents don't really want to pay for, or pay for things in school and your parents don't want to. I'd say to value your education more, because it's not worth it.
This has been Kimberly Payan for MSEB News.
It looks like having a job during high school can have both its challenges and advantages as well. In our next story, we interview a French teacher that sponsors the French and anime clubs at Mesquite High School.
Hello, this is Steven Escobar reporting for MSEB News, and I'm here at Mesquite High School with Mackenzie Thehall to talk about her after-school clubs that students seem to enjoy. Now, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hi, I'm Miss Thehall. My students call me Mademoiselle because I am the French teacher. I teach all levels, French 1, 2, 3, and French 4 AP. I also am the club sponsor for Anime Club and French Club.
What made you start both of those clubs?
So French Club, I just figured I had to have a French club since I was a French teacher and no one else was going to do it. And Anime Club, one of my students, my second year, begged me to take over for another teacher who had left. And I decided I would take over, and I liked anime all right, so I decided to go ahead and take up the reins.
What's it like having these after-school clubs?
I really enjoy it because basically the students get to come together and they have an opportunity to meet other students with the same interests as them, and I really like the connections that I see in the clubs. I also really like the different types of events and stuff that I get to put on for my kids.
Were you nervous about hosting these clubs?
Sometimes I get nervous because the students will show up and I won't have anything planned for the club, and we'll just watch music videos or something. So that makes me nervous, but this year I have a really excellent French club president who helps me plan everything, and the librarian's been really helping me plan Anime Club a lot, so when I get help I get less nervous.
For any Mesquite High School students interested in joining, where can they find you?
So I am upstairs C Hall in class C15. Our Anime Club happens every Tuesday after school in the library, and our French Club happens every Wednesday after school in my classroom.
Is there anything else you would like to say to our viewers?
Only that I just recommend that any student who's just like feeling lonely and they want to make friends or whatever, I really recommend that they join a club or an organization here at Mesquite High School, even if it's not one of my clubs. It's just the best way to get connected and to like meet your crowd. So I always recommend that to our kids.
Thank you.
No
This
problem.
has been Stephen Escobar reporting for MSEB News, signing off.
Mesquite High School students are lucky to have a fun teacher like Miss Thial, who goes above and beyond the classroom for them. In our final story, we investigate how voters can affect the poll numbers. Here's our story.
My name is Lilith Swint, and today I'll be investigating the importance of student voting.
But first, let's interview some students to see what they think.
Your vote does matter, especially in local elections where there's a lot less people for you to compete against, in a sense. So your voice matters a lot more when there is a smaller group of people.
Whenever I do turn legal voting age, I will vote because my vote does matter, especially in smaller voting clusters. Your voice matters more because there's less people, so you have a bigger voice.
When I am 18 and I can vote, I do plan on voting as soon as I can. And I think my vote matters to a certain extent. Like in local elections, it probably will. People voting in those is a little unheard of from my knowledge.
That's right, Alex. Voting in local elections gets overlooked by many people. Kenny Green, who is running for city council in District 2, recently posted on Facebook, just over 2,000 votes have been cast in a city with 150,000. Here's another example of just how much your vote matters. The population of Mesquite in 2019 was 143,356. Assuming 1/4 of Mesquite citizens are old enough and registered to vote, that makes 35,864 people eligible to cast a ballot. But in that 2019 election for mayor, only 8,802 people showed up. Here's the kicker. In that election, Bruce Archer won by 438 votes. Stan Pickett could have easily won that if less than 500 people showed up and voted his way. And that should worry supporters of both candidates. Maybe you don't care about the mayor, but you do probably care about things like dress code, lunch options, health and safety plans, and class availability. Fun fact, the people who decide on those things are the school board. Members of the school board are elected officials, meaning that by voting for them, you can make changes about the problems you care about. Let's look at some examples. This is Elaine Whitlock. She was recently elected to remain on the school board. In that election, just over 3,000 people voted. Whitlock won by 680 votes. Kevin Carbo was up for re-election that year as well. He won by 106. To put that in perspective, there are around 600 seniors at Mesquite High School. So even if you don't think your vote matters, I can assure you it does. I'm Lilith Swint with MSEB News. Now, back to the studio.
It's great to see students excited about getting involved with voting. It really shows how everyone's vote can affect the results of an election.
This wraps up this edition of MSEB News. For more information on today's stories, please visit the MSEB YouTube channel, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook pages. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Lilith Swint.
And I'm Kimberly Payan. Until next time,
Stay classy,
Mesquite.
This has been a presentation of MSEB, Mesquite Student Entertainment and Broadcasting, in association with the Mesquite Independent School District Career and Technical Education Department.